ready for the time of your life at Circa Resort and Casino, Las Vegas's newest destination for fun, featuring the world's biggest poolside tailgate party with 3 levels of action, 6 pools, and a 143-foot screen. The fun is always on deck with all the games all year long. Stadium Swim, located in downtown Las Vegas on Fremont Street. Book the time of your life today at circalasvegas.com.
Hey, Forrest here. Nothing like getting paid. And with ICCU's mobile app, I can deposit checks or accept Zelle payments so the money hits my account fast. I just wish there was an app for mowing the rest of these lawns.
What? Dude. Fish on.
When I want Boise State to win, I trust Coach Rice to lead the Broncos to victory.
And when I want the best painting and garage floor coating, I trust rowpaint.com to get that job done right.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Today's broadcast is coming from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktail Studios. Check out one of their more than 30 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. Cutwater Canned Cocktails is perfect for your next game day tailgate party. Now, here's 4-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, how we doing, Boise State fans? Happy Monday to you here at Bronco Nation News Live, BroncoNationNews.com. This is a Blue and Orange Store Monday edition, so make sure you check out the blueandorangestore.com, all your Boise State apparel and needs, and they got that Ashton Genty Heisman shirt, so all kinds of apparel, NIL stuff. Check them out, the blueandorangestore.com. We appreciate Travis Hawks and company. Of course, you know him, you love him. He's back after a week off. Mike Prater is with us here for his weekly Monday appearance. Mike, I know you had a great vacation, great week off, celebrating your lovely wife and her birthday, and then you get home late last night, and then you remember not only do you have to work the next day, but you got to get up early with me to start the show. So appreciate it. I know you're battling a lot there, and it's early morning for you, quick turnaround, but appreciate you, man. How's it going?
Hey, no problem. Glad to be here. It's a good way to start a Monday, and it's been a little bit of a scramble today. When you come in early, I forgot that there's school buses. There was a crash this morning. I went 2,000 miles through this great country, and I drive 12 miles to work the next day, and there's a crash, and then I gotta get on computer, and it says Twitter. You have a brand new Twitter account. Something happened to Twitter. So welcome back to vacation, but it's all good. I know we got a plan today. I know we got a big week. I know we're going to try to catch up on some stuff that happened, and glad to be here, BJ.
Yeah, for once, I actually texted you the night before with an actual rundown for a show and a couple topics to talk about. And we do actually have a plan and some stuff to talk about here moving forward. We are kicking off it was supposed to be 20-part series, 20 questions. And I'll give your partner, my friend Johnny Mallory, some credit here. I sent out an email yesterday to all you guys and said, hey, what do you think of this list? Are we good? We're going to start it tomorrow. And Johnny Ballgame came back with 10 questions that I didn't even have on my list. And I added 5 more of Johnny's questions to my list. So the 20-part series became a 25-part series at about 9 p.m. last night. And so we've added another week to this because I think Johnny had some really good questions that we had kind of skipped over. And so we'll take 5 weeks here, maybe 4.5. We got some breaks in the golf tournament and things, and we'll try to maybe do 2 a day for some of these days. But we'll basically take most of June to focus on some questions, position groups, bigger issues. And then the month of July, we'll focus on the individual players and count down some of them and really focus in on them. But we'll get into, obviously, some player discussion amongst the bigger 25 questions here. But before we get into the series, just generally, Mike, I mean, it's a exciting season, but still a lot of questions and a lot of things that have to be figured out about this team for them to get where a lot of fans expect and hope they get to in 2024.
Yeah, my first question here all of a sudden is, dang it. Way to go, Johnny Ballgame. 5 ideas. We could have, to screw this BNN stuff, we could have saved those 5 ideas for Idaho Sports Talk. Just joking. I love that Johnny can crank those out, and I love that it's going to be a 25-part series. We're going to probably steal about half of those and create our own little side series as well. So I know that there's a lot of stuff going on, but yeah, this offseason is so exciting, and there's so many different storylines. It's crazy.
Hey,
you covered go ahead.
I cut you off. Sorry, Mike. You already stole my 15-part series on the players, and you did it twice. So, yeah, feel free to go for the countdown for the questions if you'd like as well.
Yeah, we're all trying to do our off-season parts. But, after 30-plus years of covering this football program, man, this is going to be – I'm not going to say the most interesting or not put anything too crazy. It's certainly one of the most unique. There's no doubt about that. And there's so many different storylines, and there's so many different question marks. And this football program, this football season could go south in a hurry. We have high expectations. Expectations are really, really tough to kind of meet sometimes, and we'll see. And there's so much at stake with the CFP and everything going on right now and all the stuff off the football field. It's a fascinating offseason. And I know football fans can't wait to get to August, but we got 25-part series, maybe a 40-part series. Let's partner on a 40-part series, BJ.
You know what? You could probably come up with 40, 50 questions if you really wanted to. I mean, I came up with 20 pretty easily. Thought that was just a good number. And then, like I said, sure enough, Johnny had some that weren't on there. Bob wrote back with a couple. I think that we got a nice mixture here of 25. And yeah, feel free to steal, take whatever you want. We're partners here at the two outlets. And I'm sure when you got 3 months in the off season of nothing going on in Boise, Idaho, we're looking for as much content as we can get. We will get as well to your column, Mike Prater. You wrote a column last week before you went on vacation talking about a number of topics, but the one that I think got the most buzz or talk that I saw on social media was Jeramiah Dickey's contract situation. I do want to get your thoughts on that later in the show as well. Also, want to throw in one more quick plug for the golf tournament here coming up a week from Friday. We're less than 2 weeks away, Mike Prater, and we're blowing past last year's numbers. We had about 30 foursomes first year. We had 49 foursomes last year, and we're up to 57 foursomes right now. I'd love to sell this thing out. The absolute max we can fit is 64. That'd be 32 and 32. I'd love to get about 30 and 30. The pace of play is good. You're not jamming the course too much. We've got 30 right now in the morning. We got 27 in the afternoon. So if we're looking for 3 more foursomes for the afternoon, let's get to 30 and 30. I'll call it a sellout. And it'll be a tremendous day for the Idaho Youth Sports Commission. We continue to add kind of cool things and different things. And I know everybody knows about, Tyson Degenhart and the Pastry Perfection Donuts that'll be out there. By the way, I should throw in a plug, Mike. He'll be there this Saturday, May 25th from 10 to 11 at the Pastry Perfection location. You can go meet Tyson Degenhart. He'll be signing some of his new trading cards and things. So go see Tyson this weekend, Saturday from 10 to 11 at Pastry Perfection. But then come see him out at the golf tournament. You can see some of your former players, coaches, current players. We have Tyson Degenhart doing the morning celebrity shot, Mike Prater, and then we have Maddox Madsen doing the celebrity shot in the afternoon. So I think 2 of the more popular, well-known players right now in Boise State with the potential starting quarterback doing the afternoon. Going to be nice for his knee. He doesn't have to play 18 holes. He can just stand there on hole 17 and put it within 10 feet of the pin every time. But looking forward to seeing Spencer Danielson, Leon Rice. It's going to be a lot of fun, Mike Prater. We got 3 or 4 foursomes left. Let's sell this thing out.
That's very cool, man. The growth is phenomenal. And these things are so hard. And I've told you before that, I've been involved in putting these tournaments on before, and you're literally a one-man show. I know you got help from your wife and some other small support staff, but these are so much work. And to sell out 60 foursomes for this tournament, even with the star-studded celebrities, and that takes work as well. It's not like these guys are showing up on their own. It requires phone calls and organization from you. So I think it's a really cool deal. This is by far my favorite golf tournament of the year, and these things are crazy. There's like one every single day in this valley right now, and that's a great fundraiser and a great time, and I think it's cool. So, yeah, let's personally sell out these next 3 and get this sucker done. We can call it the Jeramiah Dickey sellout. We came just a little bit close, but for marketing purposes only, this sucker's going to be a sellout. Make that happen, BJ.
I love it. I love that. It's a great way to describe it. That is hilarious. And you get to spend half your day playing golf and call it a work day. So I know you like it that way, but you guys will be out there, and then you guys will do your show out there, and I know we'll have a lot of fun. And again, a full catered lunch from R&R Barbecue. We got golf balls, golf towels, all kinds of swag we're giving away, and Paddles at Poke is a new sponsor that jumped in. They're going to be passing out some samples at one of the holes. Cutwater Spirits will be out. It's just a lot of fun. And I still am offering, I told people that sign up for the afternoon a $50 discount just because I want to sell it out. So if you're willing to play in the afternoon, you can make this happen. 12 o'clock's lunch, driving range, 1:30 you tee off. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And the weather is just perfect right now. So join us. And we also have the pre-party event the night before. Mike Prater, I announced this last week, but we do have a couple extra tickets for that. So if you can't golf or don't want to golf, for a $50 donation to the Idaho Youth Sports Commission, you can come hang out with Leon Rice and Spencer Danielson from 6 to 8 next Thursday, the night before the tournament. And if that doesn't sell you, I think we might be able to get Mike Prater to stop by after the show. That's probably enough, worth the $50 by itself. But we're going to have drinks. We're going to have food. It's all, taken care of as part of your fee. And then, I know there's been some barnstorming tours and the Stampede and all that, but we're going to get Spencer and Leon up there in kind of an intimate Q&A for 100 or so of you. It's a pretty small room, and you'll get a chance to ask a question and to Spencer or Leon and hang out with them. And going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. We're trying to talk about kind of just pushing the envelope, Mike, and we're trying something new this year, kind of doing more of the speeches and the program, so to speak, the night before instead of overlapping it over lunch and seeing if that makes Friday go a little smoother at the golf tournament. So if you're interested in that, you want to come hang out, see Leon, Spencer, whoever else, $50, email me, rains@bronconationnews.com, or you can go to bronconationnews.com/golf and get more information on that. And looking forward to that next week. It's crazy. It's already here. We're moving next week. My family's coming to visit. We got my son's first baseball tournament. We got another crazy couple of weeks here in the Rains household.
By the way, you said you like to push the envelope around here. I like to push the envelope. It's one of my favorite phrases, but you said that there's going to be a Q&A question next Thursday. Can I ask a couple of questions during that session?
I would love for that to happen. We go to Johnny, to Jake, to all these random people. And we got a question over here. Mike Prater, KTIK, BNN. I would love. We need to plant that and make that happen for sure. I think we're going to get Jay Tuss to help out with some of the emceeing for that. So maybe we can plant that with Jay to go ahead and require you to maybe ask the first question. Or maybe you just come up on stage and take over and say,
No. I just want a question. I'll have one question for each. I'm working on it right now.
That's perfect. That is so perfect. I love that. And I know it's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. And again, thanks to Spencer Danielson for moving his schedule around and being willing to come. And as I said, Lithia Ford of Boise, Mike, has all their NIL deals. So I believe that Thursday night, since they can't come in the morning due to the workouts, but I know that Thursday night, Ahmed Hassanin and Matt Lauter and Andrew Simpson and all the guys at Jonah Dalmas that are doing the NIL deals with Lithia are going to be there on behalf of Lithia as well. So going to be if you're a fan of the local football and basketball teams, I can't say the name for marketing for purposes, but if you're a fan and those are your guys and your coaches, come on out. It's an awesome deal. $50. You can hang with them, have a couple drinks, couple appetizers, and mingle with Prater. And then, like I said, 3 foursomes left if you want to play golf. So email me, rains@bronconationnews.com. All right. So we're starting the 25-part series, Mike Prater. And again, some questions, some topics will be more interesting, more fun than others, but I still think there's plenty of questions. Like I said, we easily probably could have gone past 25 if we really wanted to. And we're going to look at the kicker, the punter, which I also think are more interesting this year than they've probably been in the past when you think of a question about special team. We have 3 special teams questions in the top 25, Mike Prater, which probably is about as high as that's ever been, and shows you the interest in Stacey Collins coming back and what Jonah Dalmas and James Ferguson Reynolds can do. But the tight ends, Matt Lauter in particular, and I already wrote the story, by the way. My goal, I know last year things happen, but my goal this year, and I'm going to try to stick to it, is every day when we talk about a topic, also have a written article on the website with more detail and explaining it and giving my thoughts on this. And then we'll link up the video with the story and kind of have a little multimedia thing here from both angles. But I've already posted the story, got up early, got it done this morning. You can go read it right now at bronconationnews.com, our first of the 25-part series. And looking at some of these numbers and some of these, things in terms of the tight ends, it's funny. We think we know stuff, and you go look at it, and you're like, wow, okay, what's just your big picture, I guess, before we dive into it here? The tight ends, Matt Lauter, no Riley Smith, just your thoughts on the tight ends.
The most curious case position-wise of Boise State football over the last 5, 10, 15 years in terms of Boise State's success and its connection with fans. And and go back in 25 years. And when you got the Schumans and the Putziers and the local kids going to Boise State and then going to the NFL and making an impact and a splash, the tight end is almost like cultish at Boise State, and especially in terms of the way the fans treat it. It's pretty fascinating. It hasn't reached that kind of level of success the last couple of years, even though Boise State puts a tight end into the NFL. He was very seldomly used here at Boise State. John Bates doing a nice job with the Commanders now. But the tight end position this year is going to be fascinating because all of a sudden you have one guy. I mean, there's about 5 or 6 guys behind Matt Lauter. We get that. But Matt Lauter established himself as tight end 1 in spring camp, and there's no doubt about that. But is he going to be the big lumbering guy that's going to block, or is he going to be the athletic tight end that he showed some of the flashes in spring camp? I think he's going to be a combination of both. I don't think Cutter is going to use a massive amount of tight end stuff, but he's going to be very select in terms of position and field and down and distance. So I think Matt Lauter is going to have a pretty good year, but don't forget he's only been here, 2 years, 3 years, and he's caught, 12, 13 passes. I don't think that that's going to change dramatically, especially with the depth they have at wide receiver. Matt Lauter and the 2 tight ends that they just picked up in the last 10 days are going to be required to do one thing and one thing only: take care of Ashton Jeanty. And I firmly believe that even if fans want a whole bunch of tight end production this year, and we might get teases of that from Matt Lauter, these 3 guys, these 3 tight ends that are coming into play at Boise State this year are to take care and to be personal protectors for Ashton Jeanty when it comes to blocking. And I don't think it's going to be anything more than that.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Just kind of just don't commit penalties and kind of do what you need to do and block and be explosive. And for Matt Lauter in particular, I mean, he was a guy, Mike Prater. He averaged 17.4 yards per catch last season. He had that huge game against Memphis where he had like a 59-yard catch. For his career, and again, he only has 13 career catches, which again is what everyone's kind of expecting Matt Lauter to be this star. And you look at it like, wow, he only had 13 career catches, but he's averaging over 15 yards a catch for his career. So if Matt Lauter can be that guy that can be a threat that defenses have to account for, and you don't need him to catch 5-6 passes a game, but if he can get 2 to 3 catches a game for 15 to 20 yards a catch, I mean, if he can get you a first down or get you 10 plus yards on average a catch, like you'll definitely take that from him. And he was out a little bit in the spring, but there was a lot of talk in the spring about him just being explosive after the catch and doing some things. And, he had that, I think it was a 16-yard touchdown in the Mountain West Championship game against UNLV. He had 2 touchdowns against Utah State also. And again, he was, for all the talk about Riley Smith being a captain and everything else, and Riley Smith's a part of BNN, and we love him, but he missed a couple games due to injury last year. Matt Lauter actually, was pretty much Boise State's main tight end last year for a good chunk of the season. Actually started 9 games, I believe, and so the stats were very similar, although he had more touchdowns. So I guess I'm curious to see what he can do, and I guess part of this question was, is he going to be a star? But what does that mean, Mike Prater? I guess because you mentioned John Bates. Another one of those weird look it up things. John Bates only had more than 12 catches in a season one time. John Bates' career high at Boise State was 22. You have to go all the way back to Jake Rowe, who I mentioned in my story in 2017 to get a guy that, a tight end with 30 plus catches. And Jake Rowe did that 3 times in 4 years at Boise State. So it has been, for all the talk about the tight ends, Mike Prater, it's been 6 years since they've really have a tight end be what I would call a game changer in terms of a key part of the offense more than just talk.
Riley Smith last year had 14 targets, not catches, 14 targets. And I think Matt Lauter had less than that. I think Matt Lauter had about 10 targets last year. And it's crazy. Well, no, he had a couple more targets than that, but it's crazy just in terms of how little the tight ends are used. Dirk Cutter is going to use them. And I think you said it perfectly in terms of the situations. There's going to be stretches where I think Matt Lauter and these tight ends are going to disappear in terms of catching the ball, but doing the grunt work behind the scenes. And all of a sudden, Matt Lauter in the third quarter is going to catch 2 back-to-back 21-yard catches that's going to win you a football game. And I suspect he may do that once, twice, 3 times during this season. So that's where I was talking about the situation, the down and the distance, and putting him into specialized positions where he can go out there and succeed for Boise State football. He's not going to be a pass production machine, but he's going to be this specialized superstar that I think Dirk Cutter can really, really rely on, especially early on. Well, these wide receivers, especially the young guys like the Marshalls and some of these other guys, get that connection with whether it's Maddox Madsen or Malachi Nelson. You know how easy it is to dump it off to a guy like Matt Lauter and just let him rumble for 6, 7, 8 yards? That's an easy pickup for Boise State, and I would imagine Dirk Cutter will take advantage of that.
What do you make behind Lauter? I mean, Austin Terry, a redshirt sophomore, played in 11 games last year, but didn't have any catches. He was a top 40 tight end nationally out of high school, a 3-star kid. Matt Wagner was a kid that I thought in spring practice several times I looked down at my roster. Who's number 88? I mean, I thought Matt Wagner made some plays this spring, but again, was a freshman last year. Did play in 4 games, preserved his redshirt though. No catches coming there out of Prosper, Texas. And then you have Luke Voorhees, who's in terms of experience at Boise State is the most experienced along with Lauter. He's a redshirt junior, did actually run in a 2-point conversion against New Mexico last year, but he's mostly a special teams guy. Again, no career catches. And then I'll be honest, Mike Prater, I think I know this roster pretty well. When I was looking at the tight end group, they had 3 tight ends I had never heard of or hadn't really thought of since they signed in Oliver Fisher, Caden Dawson, and Caden Anderson. Again, 0 catches for all 3 of those guys. They bring in Mitchell Bothwell, the Villanova transfer, but he has 2 career catches for 7 yards, mostly a blocking tight end. But I still do think that shows they were a little concerned about the depth there because they're bringing in a guy with, and again, production-wise, doesn't have a lot in the passing game, but a 4-year player in college that comes over, and they're using a valuable 85, spot for him. That makes me think, okay, they realize they're a little thin there behind Lauter. And then Connor Gilbreth from LSU is a blocking tight end. Sounds like he's going to move to O-line. But they did add 2 guys that were tight ends last season to this roster. Terry, Wagner, Voorhees. I mean, Lauter missed a little time in the spring. Like if Lauter were to have some sort of injury, what do you think of the depth and the group behind him?
Who's up next at wide receiver? I mean, you almost have to kind of move on and use the big guys to block and just take the tight end equation out of it when it comes to catching the football. And I think that slippery slope can be an issue. I think some of these other kids that you mentioned certainly have the ability to maybe catch a pass or 2 in a game if they had to, but certainly haven't proven to be reliable depth at this point. So, I just don't think, again, it goes back to catching the ball. I don't think they're going to plan on catching or throwing the football a ton to the tight end, figuring out the best way to use Matt Lauter, and then just relying on one of the deepest, if not the deepest ever wide receiver group in the history of Boise State football to catch your passes. So I think what happened over the last 10 days, and I haven't had a chance to talk to anybody being on vacation, but we talked a little bit about offensive line depth coming out of spring camp. And I think that now all of a sudden we can see that the coaches agreed with us on that, especially on the edges. On the right side, Hall Schmidt was a rock star. And at one point, I thought today's show was going to be about 5 early breakout candidates that we're going to see contribution from next year. And Hall Schmidt, based on the amount of times his name cropped up in spring camp, I thought he'd be the guy. But he's the right tackle with not a lot of experience. And there is not a lot of depth here. I think there's some interior depth when it comes to this offensive line. Is some of these better players can mix and match, but the outside depth, the edge depth, they're going to need some blocking, and that's exactly what they brought in. So Dirk Cutter said, if you want me to run your offense, you're going to have to get me some edge blocking. And they went out and found a couple of tight ends that specialize in blocking.
All right, so you did check your email because that was number 20 on the list at one point, the breakout players. Then you can blame Bob for that because he said that should be higher on the list, and I agree. And then Johnny added the extra questions, so he shuffled some things around and went tight ends today. But yes, that is a question we'll get to. 5 breakout candidates that could make an impact.
And I did my homework on those 5. I haven't
announced the list yet, so I'll make sure that's next Mondays, or I'll make sure that's if you really are ready with 5 guys, I will make sure that that's on Monday, so you can do that.
I get my 5 guys. The research is done.
All right, well, that's perfect. Then I'll make sure that's next Mondays. That'll be question 20 or whatever it is, 19, and we'll do that one of these weeks as well. But okay, so final thought on the tight end, because I want to get to your column on Jeramiah Dickey. But again, I kind of said the same thing in my column. I said the deep and talented groups at receiver and running back, the tight end group won't be counted on for big production. It won't be needed to. Just need Lauter to be a threat. Defenses must account for opening up opportunities for others. And as I said, just kind of don't screw it up out there. But it would be nice if, as you said, whether it's a dump down, whether it's the occasional pass over the middle, they just really haven't had any kind of threat as a tight end to run with the ball in a while. And as Vlad says, establish the passing game with the tight end early, so the defense needs to be concerned. They'll open up the passing game for everybody else. Clint says Lauter and Wagner need to be the next Efa and Gallarda. Great to have depth at wide receiver, but get these tight ends involved.
I don't think you have to get the tight ends involved. In terms of mass production, get them involved at the right time, and I think that's what we're talking about. But again, I'll go back to what I said. The fans here love the tight end position. I think it's awesome. I think it's quirky, but I think it's awesome, and I think it's something that's unique the Boise State. No, it's not Boise State's only uniqueness. There's plenty of other schools out there that love and have obsessions with tight ends, but here at Boise State, it's very bizarre. And you talked about Tommy Gallardo. He was pretty good, and some of these other guys were pretty good. But I just don't expect a lot of production. There's going to be a game or two where Matt Lauter is going to be the rock star, maybe the player of the game. But if you're expecting him to have that kind of production, I just don't see it happening. I went back and checked, by the way. Matt Lauter had 9 catches last year, and I'll confirm this after the show, but Matt Lauter had 9 catches last year, and I have him down literally for 9 targets. I don't know if he caught all 9 passes that were thrown to him. I'll check that because it seems a little bit off, but 9 targets, 9 passes, and let's say that doubles. Let's say all of a sudden he gets 18 to 20 targets and 18 to 25 catches or whatever the number is. That's a big, big number, and I don't even expect it to get to that point, BJ.
So 9 catches, and then you had 11, I believe, from Riley Smith. I'm just triple checking this. Riley Smith had 11, Matt Lauter had 9, and you had Austin Terry was okay. So you had 20 catches from the entire tight end group last year. Over under 20 catches for the entire time. What should the number be this year for the total number of catches from the tight end group if it was 20 last year?
Let's go definitely over that. I mean, I think it should be pushing 30. I think Matt Lauter should be pushing 20 catches. I mean, that dude should be responsible for like 1.5 to 2 catches.
2 games, not that much, yeah.
No, it's not. It's not that much. And I don't think he's going to get 26 catches, but, they're going to come in bunches. He's going to disappear for a game and a half, and then he's going to be a rock star for a game and a half. So if you're setting the over-under at 20, Matt Lauter himself will be over 20, no doubt about it.
All right, that's number 25. The tight ends will continue moving along with our series of questions as we move forward here. Again, 4.5 weeks or so. Tomorrow we're going to look at expectations for Sire Gaines and Breezy Dubar and the backup running backs. That was a John Mallory question, which I think is a good one because everyone's talking Ash and Genty, but you're going to need something out of those guys behind him and what should be expected of those two guys who could take over when Genty's gone as the main running back next year. Mike Prater had a column. I want to get to that in just a second. His thoughts on Jeramiah Dickey's contract extension. But first, want to thank Cutwater Spirits. More than 35 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails. You can pick one up at your local gas station or grocery store. Our studio sponsor, Cutwater Spirits. Perfect for your next game day tailgate party. Roepaint.com, ROEpaint.com. Check them out. Official paint and coatings company at Boise State Athletics. Whether it's interior, exterior, residential painting, commercial, industrial, that concrete coating for your garage, your back patio, your basement, all your painting needs. Check out our title sponsor at Roepaint.com. Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com. Tyson Degenhardt's working with them. I'm working with them. Prater, everybody that I know has ICCU for their bank, and we're highly thankful for their support. Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com, the best mobile e-branch online banking, and we're using them for our home mortgage. Brent Cotter doing a tremendous job. Reach out to me if you're looking for a great mortgage officer, a loan officer. Brent is doing a tremendous job helping us out. So thanks to Brent. Thanks to everybody at ICCU. Check them out. Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com. I mentioned that we're moving next week. Matt Bauscher got it done for us. Number 1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley, Matt Bauscher, Bauscher Real Estate, helped us buy a home, helped us sell a home. Kelly, Cade, Sarah, the whole team there at Bauscher Real Estate. It's just tremendous personal service, and they've got different people on the team that specialize in different areas. And so some of the smaller realtors, maybe one guy is trying to do everything, and it's a lot of work, and stuff's getting messed up. Matt Bauscher, his team, everything is covered with his team. I highly, highly recommend any size home. Doesn't matter how big, how small. If you're looking to buy or sell, number 1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley for a reason is Matt Bauscher. Check him out at BauscherRealEstate.com. And our friend Mark Ridley, Ridley's Family Markets, 14 locations across the state of Idaho. That CUNA location, Star, Middleton, Weiser, the surrounding areas here in the Treasure Valley. Check them out. You can get up to 40% off at the checkout line using that Shop Ridley's app. And again, you can get more information, find a location near you at shopridleys.com. All right, Mike Prater, by the way, this guy has put it on here 10 times, so I guess he wants us to mention it. While you were gone, one of the many things that happened, Max Rice got engaged.
I saw that actually, and I did not spend a lot of time on Twitter. But somehow one day, midweek last week, I was kind of floating through some stuff, maybe catching up on a couple of quick emails. And I saw a video of a helicopter flying in a blue sky. And I looked down and I go, wait, that's Max Rice. Wait a minute. That's Banbury Golf Course. And then I showed that. And then, my wife, who has a big crush on Max Rice. Actually, she's got a bigger crush on Leon, but she loves the Rice family. And And that video may have even shed a tear to her eyes. So good for Max, good for his fiance. We actually like to think here at Idaho Sports Talk, we broke that news because when he was in the studio with us a couple of months ago, probably during the season, the idea of a lady friend and maybe going overseas and playing professional basketball came up, and Johnny Ballgame asked him about putting a ring on it. And Max Rice said, I'm not afraid to put a ring on it. A couple months later, he put a ring on it. Congratulations, Max. Very cool deal.
And I think he may have actually done the official proposal before that in Hawaii when they were on a family vacation. I thought I saw something on Instagram or Facebook where something may have come before that, but they had the collective golf tournament a couple weeks ago, and they made that happen with the jewelry company there and the helicopter, and it was pretty cool to kind of reenact that a little bit. And kudos to Max Rice. That's awesome news. And sent him a text congratulating him, and that's pretty cool. And there's a chance Max could be out there next Friday at the golf tournament as well. By the way, I was talking to Max, and we're going to see if we can make that happen, have him come hang out. And it's funny, the first year you were just trying to get people like begging people to come, and now like people are offended. Like Tyler Crow reached out, like, why didn't I get the invite? Like people want to now and I love you, Tyler Crow. We're going to get you out there now. We're going to try, but like now, like they're reaching out to me. That's what the tournament has become here, Mike Prater. Where we invite Tyson and RJ Keene, and then there's other players going, where am I? And then 10 football players are coming, and yet there's 11 or 12 that are saying, why wasn't I on the list? So this is the tournament of all tournaments, I guess.
I love that. I absolutely love that. So have you found a spot for me yet? Because you broke the news before I went on vacation. I think right here on this show 2 Mondays ago that my traditional team wasn't playing this year. And I kind of feel like an orphan. Have you found a home for me yet?
We will talk about that off air, but I potentially have you in the same foursome as my guy from Circa. I thought maybe you could help show him a good time in Boise, and then that would also return the favor next time you're looking to go to Circa. You'll have some connections and things. So I thought that might be a decent spot for you. That's not bad. I got a Circa hat free from Circa after I begged for a whole week. I'll show up wearing my Circa hat, and I'll bring the sportsbook stories. Absolutely, that sounds fantastic. He's also basically a scratch golfer, so and he'll help your team, right? He'll help my team. I hope I don't embarrass myself, but we'll take care of that, though. Former golfer he started at UC Santa Barbara and then transferred to UNLV and finished up golfing at UNLV, and then now is working at Circa, and one of my good friends actually that I've gotten to know over the last several years. And so that is pretty random, by the way. Oh, by the way, you'll like this, Mike Prater. While we're going way off the rails here, I might as well bring it up. I asked Circa. I said, hey, because we just signed a new 1-year deal with them, upped it. It's going to be great. Looking forward to it. We're doing the football contest again. We got to get Mike Prater involved in it this year with the Survivor contest and everything else we got going on. But I said, hey, any chance, and they're also sponsoring a hole at the golf tournament, so they're going to have flyers. And last year, I think we had fireball shots out there. We'll see what craziness happens this year at the Circle Hole. But so that's crazy in itself that a casino in Vegas is sponsoring a hole at a golf tournament in Idaho, and they're going to be doing it. But I said, hey, you got any swag you can send up here? We'd love to get something in the goodie bags, or if you got anything we can pass out, kind of as a long shot, not expecting much. And lo and behold, what shows up at my door, Mike Prater, but 300 of, I wish I had one, the full-size 32-ounce bottles, I don't know what you call them, that you get out at Stadium Swim when you get a big slushie or a big large drink. They're these big, like, not thermoses. What do you call it? It's like a water bottle, I guess, but it's got the screw on top with the big straw. And there's 300 of them. So anyone that at the golf tournament is going to get a huge, nice 32-ounce Stadium Swim Circa water, drink bottle, I guess you call it. And then they've got flyers for their football contest inside there as well. And so that they're going to be handing those out to every player, and including our celebrities like Mike Prater. Nice. I'm looking forward to that. So how many people at the golf tournament will be filling that with refreshments or happy hour refreshments? That's a good little tote there. I love that. Nicely done, BJ. I have been a little quiet on this, but we apparently set a course record for the amount of alcohol consumed at last year's tournament. So we are toning it down just a little bit this year. We got some drink tickets and things involved, so we don't have people just putting 12 packs into their cart for the front nine. It will be toned down just a little this year. We're going to have actually some members of the Boise State softball team and some members of the Boise State dance team running some drink carts for us this year. So we'll be passing out drinks a little differently this year, having some drink carts, and you can still partake, and we'll have some drink tickets available. There'll be others available for purchase. We're doing trying something new, and I'm sure some folks will be a little disappointed in that, but that ended up being a much larger expense than we were expecting. We're trying to raise money for charity here. So everybody gets a couple of free drinks. After that, you can, purchase those, and you can tip the softball players or the dance team, and they'll be out there on the course. So that is something new we're trying, but I believe at the circle hole, we'll still have you covered with the fireball shots.
Nice. As long as the fireball shots are out there, BJ, that's all that matters. Fireball.
Yes, yes, it's a Friday. It's starting an early start to the weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. But, Mike, your column, BroncoNationNews.com, and we'd been talking about this for a while. It kind of been brought to my attention, and we talked about it, and I still think there's a bigger story to be written, to be discussed. As to the contract situation of Jeramiah Dickey, and you kind of put this further down in your column, and you talk about Spencer Danielson and some of the things that he has going on. We talked about NIL and all that, but under your random offseason thoughts, you had one that I thought stood out as noteworthy, and that is the fact that Jeramiah Dickey is essentially 3.5 years into a 5-year contract and does not have an extension yet. And some people say, oh, he's still got a 1.5 years. What's the big, deal? My understanding is in this world, if you're an athletic director and you had a 5-year contract and 3.5 years, nothing's happened, that's not necessarily a good sign, or it's not necessarily a normal sign at most places. And then you throw in what I think 99.9% of people would say has been one of the better 3.5-year tenures of an AD in Boise State history, probably just coming in and what he's done to change in the fundraising. And there's more news on that on the way. And here in the near future, you have to be the ultimate Boise State negative Nancy hater to find much of anything wrong with what Jeramiah Dickey has done in 3.5 years. And for him to not have a new contract and still be on that initial contract, I think the word you used was embarrassing in your column. When you realize that and put that pen to paper on that part of your column, just your thoughts on Jeramiah Dickey.
Well, I think it's a slow developing story that could be the biggest story that's developed around here in a long time, depending on how it shakes out. And I know it's been top of mind for you, and you've been working the background really, really hard and trying to lay the foundation for what could become a very, very important story. And I love the work you're doing. I was doing roster maintenance myself here a couple months ago and going through all the contracts at Boise State of all the high-profile people from the 10th football assistant all the way to the top to Jeramiah Dickey. And then I looked at the expiration date, and I'm thinking, okay, we're getting closer. These 3.5 years are really, really, really fast here. And I realized that there's a little bit of time left. There really is. When I put that out there, and when you and I have been talking about it, I even did a soapbox about it about 2 months ago on Idaho Sports Talk, talking about one of the key things this calendar year, I'm talking about this calendar year, is taking care of Jeramiah Dickey's contract. You do not want to wake up on January 1st, 2025, knowing that Jeramiah Dickey is in the last 364 days of his contract, and it's a lame duck contract, and nothing has been done about it. I think that's horrible if it gets to that point. Sometime between now and December 31st of this year, Marlene Trump must give Jeramiah Dickey a new contract, and frankly, give him whatever he wants. He's not going to be irresponsible. He's not asking for the moon. The dude makes as much money as Ashton Genty now. And I know that's kind of a running joke, but it's kind of close and it's kind of embarrassing. I didn't say the word embarrassing, the fact that he didn't have a contract yet, because I do think there is some time. The fact that he's getting $8,000 raises every year for the last 3.5 years, that part's embarrassing. This dude's raised millions, and they're giving him $8,000 raises and a lame duck contract. BJ, that needs to be fixed.
All right. Well, sorry for misquoting you there on the use of embarrassing, but I will say I do have a quote from that I do have since your story came out from Marlene Trump, the president at Boise State. This is through Mike Sharp, the public relations spokesman, I guess, at Boise State. I asked for a follow-up because it didn't really address our problem, but Marlene Trump saying, quote, Jeramiah Dickey has brought a strong and impactful vision to Bronco athletics, elevating our programs and the well-being of our student athletes. His work has made him integral to our philanthropic campaign, which aims to create one of the premier athletic programs in the country and provide an unmatched student-athlete experience. He has continued to strengthen our fan base in Idaho and build upon our stellar national brand. And obviously no touch on the contract there, which is what I followed up with, with Mike, and we'll see if we get any kind of future response. But what could possibly, and again, maybe behind the scenes there is something going on. They're going to announce some big contract. My understanding is that's not close from what I've heard. It's not like they're already, well down the path. They're not, from what I've been told. And I guess just what would be and again, I get it. Dr. Trump has a lot on her plate. There's a lot of things to deal with running a university than just extending your athletic director. Maybe she's also a first-time president. Maybe she's going, oh, he's got a year and a half. Why am I worrying about this now? We don't really know. But I mean, is there anything that someone like Dr. Trump could point to that would not want them to extend Jeramiah Dickey?
It would have to be a personal problem, and maybe personality styles, maybe clashes of job management, how you get the stuff done. Marlene Trump and Jeramiah Dickey on the surface are pretty close to the same. They're very similar in terms of the rah-rah stuff. But I think Jeramiah Dickey, the substance that he carries, obviously Marlene Trump has to understand that and recognize that. And even if she had minor personality differences, I'm not saying she does. I'm just trying to answer your question. I think they get along pretty well. I've never really heard anything too crazy. You never really quite know. None of us really have a close connection with the president's office and how Marlene Trump operates. We don't think about her office 90% of the time. And when it comes up, it's about situations like this and the background and the context of how she's handled this, because you're right. She's a first-time president. Maybe she says, well, where's my contract or something like that. Maybe we need to find out what her contract situation is. Frankly, I don't know. I do know every second or every word of Jeramiah Dickey's contract. Don't know anything about Marlene's. We'll get that figured out. But maybe there's some personal context there. Professionally, Jeramiah and Gene Bladermeyer was It drives me crazy sometimes when people talk about Jeramiah Dickey and what he's done, and it's all well-deserved. But Gene Bladermeyer did a lot of this same exact stuff, guys, 25, 30, 40 years ago. Gene Bladermeyer was a difference maker, a trailblazer. Was he the same social media, happy-go-lucky, pat the media on the back kind of guy? No, completely different personality. But behind the scenes, getting the stuff done, Gene Bladermeyer was a difference maker, and Jeramiah Dickey is absolutely a difference maker in the Gene Bladermeyer vein. If Jeramiah Dickey stays here another 10 to 15 years, in this day and age, that's almost impossible to ask for. His name will be on a building just like Gene Bladermeyer. And hopefully Marlene Trump recognizes that. The difference that he's made here in 3.5 years is incredible. He needs to go off and be another 3.5 years and do more incredible things at Boise State. He talked about on KBOI last week the timeline for his North End project, and he talked about next spring. If this whole thing goes to south because there is no contract for Jeramiah Dickey and this project is left out there lurking, that's going to be a massive, massive upset for this athletic program. And Marlene Trump has to take care of business. So sometime in the next few months, preferably before the football season, she must give Jeramiah Dickey a massive contract with a big raise and a big extension.
Bronco 130 says, to think Trump isn't working on this is ridiculous, non-story. Just telling you what I've heard, man. Telling you what I've heard.
It's not a non-story. It's a very important story, and you don't really have to spend a lot of time working on it. These things don't have to be complicated, guys. I mean, you have to change a couple of facts, a couple of paragraphs, and a couple of sentences in a contract that's already done. He's got a 5-year. Give him another 5-year contract and take his, what is he about $440,000 a year right now, somewhere in that, give or take. Give him $600,000 a year with $50,000 a year bonuses, $8,000 a year raises. Are you kidding me? Workers at McDonald's get $8,000 a year raises anymore, for crying out loud. And Jeramiah Dickey's getting $8,000 a year for a raise when he's just raised $1 million and he does it about every month. It's ridiculous. So It needs to be taken care of, and it doesn't have to be complicated. Even if she's not working on it right now, she could pick it up in July and have it done in August, and I'm perfectly okay with that.
Yeah, and I guess the bigger picture is like a Leon Rice or a Spencer Danielson or an Andy Avalos have one good year and get a new contract and an extension. We've seen 3+ years of solid, work from the athletic department and Jeramiah Dickey and record fundraising, and haven't heard a peep on that front. So I guess that's more, not necessarily like we expect the next year and a half to run out. Like I fully expect him to get a contract extension or get an offer for one. Who knows with what just because they offer one doesn't mean Jeramiah Dickey's going to take it. Based on what it is. There's both sides of this, but I think what you're saying is more about the raises and stuff. With what he's done already, they should have already ripped it up and given him a new one.
Yeah, give him a little extra money on the side. Give him $100,000. Give him a commission. For every $1 billion you raise, you get 1%. I don't know. Let's get creative. How many times have we heard Jeramiah and Dickey say, let's get creative? Let's think outside the box. There is no stone that we're going to, and Marlene Trump, and I'm not beating up on her, but when was the last time you heard her say something like that? She's not in front of the microphone, so that's not unfair as much as Jeramiah Dickey, but I want Marlene Trump to stand up and say, he's a very important person for this university. And let's think outside the box and let's get him compensated so we can stay here and continue to be a difference maker at Boise State. How do you do that? Can you do NIL for an athletic director? Can you get a sponsor let's sponsor the office. It's the Boise State athletic director's office, sponsored by whatever, rowpaint.com. I don't care what it is. Don't steal our money, rowpaint.com. But you know what? As long as they're out there taking care of business, you can get creative and you can be smart, and it's worth it. Jeramiah Dickey's worth every single creative thought or investment you could possibly come up with, and it just needs to happen. I'm not worried about the time yet, but it's certainly on our radar.
Now, and we're up against the clock here, but I guess final thing on this, you already have the coaches making more, but if you give Jeramiah Dickey $600,000, I think he'd be making more than Marlene Trump would be making. Is that in this day and world just how it goes, or should the president be making more than the athletic director? Or
no, it's a competitive world, and there's money available in the world of athletics. We're paying 110 football players now. We're paying the 110th player I guess technically we're paying the 85th best player on the football roster. The 85th best player on the football roster is getting paid now. Everybody should get paid, and whether that's athletics or the president, I'll get the details on Marlene Trump's contract so we have that proper context, but I'm not worried about that. I would imagine on every Power 5 campus, the athletic director is probably making more money than the president.
Hey, we're up against the clock here, but I do need to really quickly just thank Lithia Ford of Boise. Check them out, lithiafordboise.com. Of course, Taco Bell, you can check them out if you're looking for a job, TacoBellWorks.com. The Blue and Orange Store, theblueandorangestore.com. All your Boise State gear. If you need a job, transportation, compliance service, and get you in the trucking industry, transcomservice.com. And of course, Lean Feast. I think we're trying in the next week or two, Mike Prater, maybe the Monday after the golf tournament, seeing if we can get out to Lean Feast. They're going to have a cool announcement with a new athlete, Mike Prater, that maybe is going to join us for the interview live as a new NIL deal that we're working on as well. But leanfeastmeridian.com, and of course, playtimberstone.com. I was going to play golf today, Mike Prater. I think, as you know, something may have come up, and I had to move around the schedule today. But tomorrow, I'm now going to try to sneak out to Timberstone and get ready for the tournament. So playtimberstone.com. You can book that tee time. So Lithia Ford, Blue and Orange Store, Taco Bell, great sponsors. Sorry I shorted you guys today. We're just out of time, but please go support all of our sponsors. Make this thing work. You just watched a 47-minute free show on YouTube thanks to our sponsors. So go support the sponsors. Go subscribe if you can. Mike Prater, 3 to 6. You're back. I'm sure you get all week. You just been sitting on some stuff. I'm sure you're going to have some massive hot takes today at 3 o'clock on Idaho Sports Talk. What do we got coming up?
While I was sitting in traffic this morning coming in, and I just drove 2,000 miles, but it took me 12 miles. It took me 20 minutes to go 5 miles this morning. So I booked Tyson Degenhart while I was sitting in traffic. Tyson Degenhart's going to join us live at 4 o'clock today to talk about throwing out the first pitch at the Mariners game. And then at 5:15 today, and it's not completely booked, but we're efforting, and I think we're going to get the sucker done. Former Boise State golfing star Ty Travis, who's now a businessman here in the Treasure Valley, one of the most successful golfers in the history of Boise State, on actually playing golf with Xander Schauffele and playing in Mountain West Championship tournaments with Xander Schauffele. And how did he perform, and what was Xander Schauffele like when he played golf at San Diego State? So a couple of fascinating interviews today on Idaho Sports Talk.
I don't know why, but when I heard about Scotty Scheffler getting arrested and then went and played golf, I just thought of Mike Prater. Somehow that I don't know if that scenario ever popped up or what, but that was quite the story over the weekend.
That was quite the story, and I've never been arrested on the way to the golf course, but we'll just leave it at that, BJ.
Yeah. Oh man, that's funny. Hey, appreciate it, Prater. 3 to 6 today. Make sure you guys are listening to Idaho Sports Talk. You can listen to KTIK.com, the KTIK app, 95.3 FM, 1350 AM. They do a great job. The longest running and the best, obviously, and one of the only local sports talk radio show still going on the local airwaves. So check them out, 3 to 6, our partners over there at KTIK. And then Jay Tust and I tomorrow, we'll be back at 9 a.m. as we look at Breezy Dubar and Sire Gaines and the running back group as well. So maybe some other news coming out at some point. So Mike, appreciate you. Have a great day. Good luck on the show. Maybe I'll see you later. And we will talk to everybody later. Bronco Nation News Live, Bronco Nation News